on that side.
All right. Well then, audio speeding.
Video.
Hi, my name is Mark. I'm with Chi Alpha UNC. I'm a part of their internship program, and this is my testimony. I was born and raised in a Christian household, but my parents split when I was 5. So I was going to one Christian church one weekend, and then another church the next weekend, then back to the first the next weekend. And so I wasn't really able to build any sort of Christian community there. I would sometimes engage with scripture, sometimes not. But fast forward to middle school, I was actually kicked out of the school that I was going to because I was cheating on my exams. It was a Christian school. And so I started going to a public high school, and that sort of changed the way that I engage with people, changed the way that I engage with God, changed the way that I just engage with Christianity as a whole. You fast forward that to 2019. In June of 2019, at this point, I'm essentially agnostic. I don't really engage with God at all. I always believed that there was a God, but I wasn't engaging with him relationally. And at this point, my life was empty. I felt that there was something inside me that was missing, and so I was filling that with pornography. I was filling that with drugs. November of 2019, Thanksgiving night, I actually ended up overdosing on said drugs, and that night shattered my life in a way that I'm still recovering from to this day, almost 3 years later. And firstly, I was dealing with something called depersonalization, which basically separates you from reality. Basically, it makes you feel like you can't tell what's real and what isn't, like you're in a waking dream. Then I would also be dealing with a deep sense of paranoia. Like I would be looking at a butter knife and be totally terrified of the implications of what it could do to me or what it could do to somebody else. And on top of all that, I was also dealing with constant grief cycles, the 5 stages of grief over and over and over again. And those are what I'm still dealing with to this day. These things that I was dealing with, I decided to see a therapist. I went to Ames and saw a therapist there. And this guy turned out to be a Christian. He pushed me to get back into church and pushed me to get baptized again, which I ended up doing. That started really reconnecting me with Christian community, but I was always still, especially with the paranoia, confused about whether or not it's actually possible to prove the truth of Christianity and whether or not this stuff is real. And so I decided to take a deep dive into Christian apologetics and find out, is it actually possible to prove that Christianity is real, that this is true? Because in my mind, there was only 2 options. Option 1 is God's real. There is ultimately purpose in life. He can heal my suffering. He can bring about good in it. And option 2 was that God's not real, in which case my suffering is meaningless. There's nothing after this life, in which case I was going to take my life. I found this guy on YouTube named Mike Winger, and he's got a 26-hour-long playlist of evidence for the Bible. I ate it up and found that absolutely you can prove without any shadow of a doubt that Christianity is true. The prophecies in Isaiah, written 700 years before Jesus was ever born. Prophecies in the book of Daniel that talk about who Alexander the Great was going to be. And that one was cool because it wasn't just the Bible confirming itself, it was the Bible confirming real-world history that you could check out for yourself. But ultimately, what still clings me to the Christian faith to this day is that without the use of Scripture, you can prove that Jesus was a real person, that he was crucified under Pontius Pilate, that his tomb was empty 3 days later, and that his disciples believed he rose from the grave, and they took that belief to their graves, even under persecution and martyrdom. Along this whole journey of me growing and healing and reconnecting to God in a big way and being transformed in that way, I'm a delivery driver for Grubhub, and I stop at Daruma's and I pick up an order for a customer there, and behind me I hear somebody my age talking to somebody else my age about the Gospel of John. And so I asked them, what are you guys a part of? And it turned out to be this girl named Caitlin Parks. She's a part of Chi Alpha CSU, and she was on a missions trip to Chi Alpha at UNC. She gets me connected to this guy named Jacob Peck, and after that I've pretty much been in every single large group, small group, and in-between group that you can have at Chi Alpha. I'm actually now a part of their staff full-time, doing their internship program. And yeah, that's my journey. I'm still dealing with a lot of emotions and a lot of mental issues, but God has healed me through so much. Anxiety and fear, constant worry and paranoia is a thing of the past. Depersonalization is not something I deal with anymore. And there is a level of confidence, there is a level of fulfillment, there is a level of joy and peace that I have experienced since this journey has started that I couldn't possibly find anywhere else. And so that's me.
Thanks.